Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 150 of Discourse in Magic. My name is Jonah Babbins, and before we dive into the episode, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here for this episode or 149 other episodes or however many you've been here for. I want to thank you so much because you showing up, you pressing play, you commenting, sharing, communicating with me, answering emails, telling your friends, all of that is the reason why this is alive. And I want to give you a big, huge, heartfelt thank you for doing that. I got a chance to meet so many of you at Magi Fest, and it was so cool to put faces to what are usually just numbers for me. And every time that one of you reaches out, or every time that one of you gives thanks or introduces yourself or asks me a question or something like that, helps me feel less like I'm sitting in a room talking to myself and more like I'm talking to 1 to 2 to 3,000 of you all at once. So I just wanted to express a heartfelt thank you. And then let's talk about this episode. So, every time in my life, or even in this podcast, but in my life that I reach a new milestone, I look back and I think back to what I've accomplished. And no matter what the project is in any art form, when you look back, you look at your earliest work and you're like, what was I doing? What was I thinking? And it's true for everything. It's true when I look back at my earliest work in this podcast. I look at some of the solo episodes with Tyler and I, and I'm like, what on earth were we talking about? And I'm embarrassed that they still exist, right? And I might take them down. There's your little warning if you want to watch some of them. But anyways, you look back at your old material and you're like, what was I thinking? What was I doing? And it's the same thing with magic. And I thought in reaching a milestone like 150, I wanted to talk about growth, and I wanted to talk about getting better. And through this podcast, one of the realizations that I had, one of the big realizations that I had, is that the better that I get and the more informed that I am and the more books that I read, the more that those benefits are passed on to you. Because it means the more the questions that I ask are more pointed, and it's the better lessons that I share and more details. So I am making it a real point in the next 150 episodes worth to dig a little bit deeper personally and be more informative and less motivational, and be documentative, but in a clearer way than it has been so far. So here's what I thought for this episode. There's a trick that I've been doing for 2 years now, basically, and it's the balloon swallow. And I thought in celebrating growth, and in the last episode, Ben and I were talking about getting better, and we were talking about watching back footage. I thought what I would do is I pulled together 3 different versions of me doing the trick. One is at the very beginning. It's probably one of the first or second times I ever did it on stage. It's horrifying and cringeworthy. The second time was about a year ago, and it's not bad. There's a lot of good moments in it. And the last one is the most recent one, which is better. Obviously, there's still problems, but it's better. In the last episode, we talked about how hard it is to watch back your footage. But if you want something nice about watching back your footage, watch back your really, really old footage. And you will hopefully realize how much better you've gotten since. But I thought that I would go through them with you and then give you some obvious things that are apparent to me about those clips and about those videos. And hopefully it'll be of value to you to sort of see a routine grow in real time. This episode is also going to be available as a video download. It might not be a public video, but if you check the link in this description, it'll be available. So if you want to actually watch the performances, you can. A lot of, if not most of what I'm saying is going to have to do with the words. You can just imagine me eating a balloon. But feel free to watch the videos, and that's why I included them. And a big thank you to Jackie, who's a producer of the podcast, for helping me put that together as well, and helping me make the 150th episode extra special. So here is the first video. This is from nearly exactly 2 years ago today. It was like February 7th or something. So a little bit over 2 years ago. This was one of the first times I've ever performed it. And I am going to watch it back and you can hear it with me. And then we are going to talk about it.
Tonight there's an amazing magic show coming, and I'm also a magician, and one of the crazy things that magicians have to deal with is people always think that we are like clowns. And I always think that that's weird, and a little bit offensive. I'm not a clown, I'm a magician. I do magic tricks, but still, they think I'm a clown. Still, they invite me to kids' birthdays to do balloon animals and other stupid stuff like that. So I decided to prove all the clowns wrong. I decided that I would do what all clowns can do, and they say that they're so special. I was gonna learn balloon animals. Turns out though, not very easy. So I'm not doing balloon animals, but I will treat it like a magician treats it. Like a sword. Ah. No, okay, I'll swallow it like a sword. No? Nobody? See, I got her. Okay, no, okay. For real. Are you guys not entertained? Okay. Hey, this is something that I learned in college, okay? No, I swear, okay, this is something, okay. Okay, one more shot, I swear.
Okay, so first of all, whoa, what in the fuck was that? That was brutal. But I think there's going to be a lot to learn from talking about it. So first of all, I'll talk about some of the good things that I think are from this. So the first good thing, and there are very few, by the way, but the first good thing is, the reason why I started doing this effect was for something big and visually interesting at Dave & Buster's. And it at least was that a little bit, right? So if you're watching it, people were at least watching more than me doing a card trick or something else that was small. So it was at least the kernel of that is there. There's also a few jokes, I guess I'll call them, but there's a few jokes that I had for while I was eating it, before I eat something about this is in college or something about latex. I don't remember what it was that I said that got a few laughs. So I did have a few jokes, and it was quick. That's all the good things about it. Now let's talk about the bad things. So the first is it is super clear and super obvious that this was before I was adamant or even practicing using a script. You can tell because I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about, and it doesn't make any sense either. And if I even remotely had a script, I would have read the script and realized that it doesn't make any sense at all. So number one, there is no script. Number two, I have so clearly never watched myself doing it because I would have known that forcing an audience to stare at me slowly shove a balloon down my mouth, down my throat, is not a magical moment. It's more kind of like cringeworthy and hard to watch for people. And this version, at least it got laughs, but there's other versions of me doing this, 2 years ago, where people are just looking at me while I shove a balloon down my throat. So, that's something that you can notice. Also, like, what on earth are the words that I'm saying, going back to not having any script? There's no premise, right? I say, something interesting about a magician, people think I'm a clown. I'm not a clown. I'm a magician. So here's a balloon and I'm going to eat it. It doesn't even follow a line of logic. So that's really critical that you see is missing. There's long strings of me talking without any joke or anything interesting or just anything at all. I think back to so many people say it in different ways. Ken Weber has said it. I know John Archer said it in an episode with us, but basically, John Archer said FIRE, F-I-R-E, that it needs to be either funny or interesting or relevant or entertaining or something like that. In Ken Weber's book, Maximum Entertainment, he says something about the same thing. It either has to be funny or relevant or interesting. I don't remember what it is, but like each word has to be important. And this is just so clearly, I'm just blabbing about nothing. And I didn't stand in one place. You'll notice that there's no music for anything. I already mentioned that it's sort of really hard to watch, and it was horrendous. So there's the first one. The only other thing that's redeeming about it is that it was short, so that it was over quickly, and they didn't have to watch me struggle to eat a large phallic object. So now let's move on to video number 2. Video number 2 was a year ago, and the only thing I'll tell you about it to keep in mind that you'll know is this was once it had already become a routine, and it's still riddled with problems, and we'll talk about it in a sec, but you'll be able to notice that I'm at least reciting some sort of script that people can follow along with, and it sort of makes sense if you're listening along the journey.
That's okay. Actually, tonight I'm going to swallow a sword. Not just any sword, the most dangerous sword in the world. Oh, you guys think I'm kidding. Guys, tonight we're gonna go all the way down. But some of you, I can tell, some of you think that this is less dangerous than one of those metal swords. But think about it, at any point in time, I could be eating this, it could be inside of my body, and it could pop. We're good, don't worry. You want some? That was awesome. That's okay, I do have a spare rubber. I'm not a novice. But we do. You like that, eh? There are some real things that I do have to worry about. For example, if I'm eating the balloon and it pops, the air, it could go up and out. That's ideal. But of course, it could go in and down. That's no good. Then, if it pops, the little tiny pieces of balloon shrapnel, they can go anywhere. They can go into my lungs, they can go into my heart, they can go into my soul. Okay, not my soul, but definitely my heart and my lungs. Do you guys want to see me eat this balloon? Yeah! Okay, this kid is excited, and I like that very much. But guys, I'm going to eat this whole entire thing. I need you to want it. Do you guys want to see me eat this balloon? Giant sausage. I'm glad you said that. Can I have my sword swallowing music, please?
Okay, so there is the next version of the balloon eating trick. Obviously, I feel a little bit better about that, but it still hurts to watch myself back on video and watch back footage. So first, let's talk about some of the good things before we get into the bad. So some of the good things is there's a lot of laughs. So the routine is now starting to take shape. I'm clearly reciting a script, which is great news because I know what I'm talking about. And, there are moments that don't feel like they're a script, but I know that I'm reciting a script because it's the same words every time. I've got lots of jokes and moments built in. There's a clear premise, unlike the first one, which obviously comes with coming up with a premise and writing a script, is the premise makes sense. So, the premise is very clear. It's you come to magic shows, you want to see danger, so I'm going to swallow a sword, and then a balloon sword is actually more dangerous than a regular sword. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but that's the premise, right? And that at least makes logical sense. And the other thing that you'll know about this, which isn't a good or a bad thing, but will be relevant in the next video, is both of these first two, I did the trick at the very beginning of the show. So it is my first trick of the performance. And let's see how long this one was. This one was 4 minutes, and that's a long time, especially because the eating part is probably like 45 seconds or a minute. So it means I did 3 minutes worth of bits. And that starts leading me into the part of this, or the parts of this performance that is still a problem, or is the most prominent problem for me, which is that it's super long and it's overfilled with bits. At the beginning, I say that I'm going to swallow a sword, and then I go get a sword that's hidden behind the stage, then I bring it back, then I rip it in half, then I blow up more, and I have jokes for all of those moments, but I'm filling dead time that I created, right? And I should first make it not first maybe, but I should move to make it as small as possible, or as short as possible rather, because it's short and sweet and tight. And it's as good of a trick as it can. So the first thing is there was a little bit or a lot too many bits. That trick doesn't need to be 4 minutes long. Hopefully it's around 2 minutes and really, really full of jokes. You can notice that I added the music and I added the clapping with the music so that people are following along on that part of the journey, and it's actually being hyped up. That's the reason why I came up with the trick, to be a big, exciting, visual, theatrically funny thing, and I want to really get them into it. So you can see that I get them clapping. Already it's not horrifying to watch because it's at least entertaining because there's music. So those are some of the notes on that one. And now let's go and let's watch the third and most recent one and see where we're at.
So many of you come to magic shows and hypnosis shows and shows like that because you want to see a little bit of danger. In magic there's always danger. Like David Blaine, danger, he puts a spike through his hand. David Copperfield, danger, he cuts himself in half. Chris Angel, danger, the mascara runs down his face. There's always danger in magic. So I figured, what if before I go, I bring in a little bit of danger? Oh, my lord, what is happening? Oh. Okay, we don't want that one. So I can bring a little bit of danger now. Okay. I know that that some of the tricks that I do, they're for me, right? I do this just for my fun. I can learn a drink, that's for me. Some tricks I do it for you. Now you have a perfect memory. This trick I do for Instagram. So if you have Instagram, now is probably your chance to go and grab it. And I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, what on earth could this guy do with a giant inflatable balloon that I would want to use to make all of my friends jealous? And to that, I say, DJ, can you play my sword-swallowing music, please? Snapchat also works. That was gross, yes. I know that when I blew up the balloon, you guys thought that I was gonna make like an animal or something. Yeah, no animal. Oh, you wanted an animal. Do you like balloon animals, yes? Yeah? Yeah, do you want a poodle? Get it? Okay, never mind. Do you want a shih tzu? You can have a shih tzu. Do you want a shih tzu? Okay, don't worry. Listen, the rest of the table will explain it to you later, okay?
So there you go. There is the most recent one. And again, there's good things and there's bad things. And, let's talk about both. But first, let's talk about some of the good things. So it is definitely shorter, which is good, which is what I want, because it's a punchier effect. It's quick, hi, here's the thing, blow the balloon, eat it, boom. It's quick, it's memorable, it's big. Number two, it's at the end of the show now, because it's, one of the things that I learned from doing it over and over again for 2 years is it's hard for people to pay attention to you after you eat a giant balloon. So now I do it at the very end so that they can talk about it while I'm gone. And that's really, really valuable. You can also see that I obviously now have a script that I'm reciting, but about 2 months ago, I tore apart all the scripts and started building them up again. So this is the bare bones, and you can also notice that I'm testing new jokes that people are not laughing at because they're not funny jokes. But yeah, you can see that there's already so much going on that's right with it. I included this one even though I could have cut it early, but I slipped up and accidentally. I was trying to blow up the balloon and it wouldn't blow up, so I had to throw it out and grab another one. And I said 2 or 3. I lost like 20 seconds or 10 seconds, and I should have come up with lines there, right? And I figured let's start talking about some of the negatives. So the first negative is I need to come up with a backup line for when I'm pumping up the balloon and it doesn't go, because I just fell into some awkward old habits and said nothing relevant. The next thing is I need faster, tighter jokes at the beginning. It needs to be 3 jokes before I start eating that balloon. Right now it is 1 to 2, maybe, but really it's just 1. I need an actual joke for that moment in the middle where I say Snapchat also works. I could use an actual joke. I need an actual ending because people are waiting to see what happens. Right now, I'm just using the joke about the poodle and the shih tzu. And then that joke needs to be a better one because the poodle and shih tzu is sort of an obvious low-hanging fruit of jokes. And yeah, so as you can see, there's still problems, but it feels better. It feels more mine. I feel more confident in it. The jokes are ones that I have tested that I know work. And it's not just tested because it's someone else's. Many of them are things that I came up with or friends of mine came up with. The music I handpicked for this. It's funny, if you watch the first one and you watch this one, you can kind of see a theme. In the first one, when I was eating it without music, I was humming while I was eating it, I'm a Little Teapot. So it was like this weird thing. But in this, I had the Lion King music. But the line of thinking in my head is that I wanted some like childish or recognizable song while I ate the balloon. And then I went from a standard one to a remix. And then I found the Lion King one. And that was how I ended up getting there. So you can sort of see the development of this trick. And yeah, there's still more to come. A few days ago, I brainstormed a new ending and a few other jokes that are going to be making their way into it. And maybe sometime in the future, I'll do a more updated version of this episode, and I'll let you guys keep watching this trick grow. But I thought that I would let you in on the inside to what it's like to be me, and what it's like rather to be a performer who's trying to make an act better. And it often means tearing things down. It often means, looking back and there's some jokes in the old clips that I'm like, that was actually a little bit funny. Maybe I'll take that. And then there's some things obviously that make me cringe. And I just thought with episode 150 in theme with growth and development and hopefully the podcast getting better and so much getting better, that I would take you through how much the podcast has affected me. And I think just looking at this trick, you can see so much that I've learned from the podcast and how it's made its way into my actual performance and my actual being. So there you go. I hope that you liked it. Once again, a big thank you to everyone for being here for 150 episodes, whether you watched one or all 150. It's incredible. So thank you so much. And we will see you. I will see you. You will hear me. That makes more sense. You will hear me next Thursday. Peace.